All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this Boudoir photography business. We're going to see if it has BSS for its local search, Naperville, Iowa, or for its city search, Naperville, Illinois, and its city search, Chicago, Illinois. And we're back here in the GVC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, pinned post, home video, wherever, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So over on the left side here, well, we got FSIC, kind of a graph in white. Over on the left, the highest intent peeps search on Google, search on social media, social search for the highest, or for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. So we focus on those peeps. We make our videos about BSS. And wherever on the right, the lowest intent peeps, the only way to reach them is interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram. They ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So that's what we talk about over on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS, and over there right now, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so now into BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either zero or one slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad, that's a fast death, that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are one and done. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2, which means we're going to be dying a fast death. One slot on page 1 is not good enough either, because there's 10 organic slots page 1. So it means there's could be 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone else has one slot. So everyone else looks the same. Everyone else has one slot. Buyers simply, approximately 80% of buyers. So we got to click down everyone, every link on page 1. They're never even going to go to page 2 or anything deeper. But for the 10 that are there, they'll contact everyone, get quotes, price shop everyone, negotiate, stall, delay, blah, blah, blah. Just annoying way to run a business dealing with this. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes, one, are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, people get a new iPhone, new phones, new cameras, new gear. They're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying now for boudoir. They are, throwing up their website saying that for boudoir, competing with us page 1 on Google search, posting in mom groups now from boudoir. This basically lowers margins for everyone, lowers price for everyone, decreases the probability, that anyone gets any buyers because it's more sellers, boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder for every single seller. And there's a big blast of this COVID. A ton of new boudoir photographers enter the market because everyone lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, super powered camera, so pretty easy kind of to see why that happened. Now, second, actually the biggest thing, which I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, is the false belief of page 1 equality. And the false belief of page 1 equality, it's kind of like the automatic belief boudoir photographers have had is that, every boudoir photographer gets 0 1 slots page 1 on Google. So if your website ranks there, cool. And maybe you had it there and somebody else came and ranked their website ranked higher on Google page 1, took you down to push you out to page 2, and with the photographers you're like, well, yeah, I'm on page 2 now, I guess I gotta hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them, so then hopefully Google can put me back on page 1. But no, this is 100% a false belief. It's 100% incorrect, and I know this because I myself went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. 100%. I know that is true, which makes the false belief of page 1 equality false. Now, we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. That's because, if we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, we're only on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. Yeah, we're disappearing and fast. Same if we only got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invincible, being price shopped to death. We're getting contact form fill outs, but price shops, people gotta, they gotta save up for it. We know they ain't never buying. And as a result, both these are kind of the signal. Well, BSS, it's the signal. It's what makes us a disappearing boudoir photographer, but BSS itself is the signal that, the check engine light, the warning light that We're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our business is on the path itself to disappearing. That's what that means. But we did finally discover a solution. We discovered it because we invented it. So we discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we invented this, and it works exactly as it says, S cubed methodology. Social search saturation. We're saturating social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. So we show up there, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains on the backside, the eastern side in South America. So what happens with that snow is it melts, goes into small streams, small rivers, and eventually across the whole mountain range. It all actually flows to the Amazon River, which is the Amazon River is Google page 1. But we got to get our snow up top the mountains first. That's our social search saturation. And so when we rank there, get enough ranking there, then eventually flow onto Google page 1. Now, one of the interesting things is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight back against market saturation and allow a boudoir photographer to grow their business even with more boudoir photographers entering the market every single day in a relatively quick time frame. And the only other solution I've seen that has a few of these properties is to actually have a large, well-known brand. That would definitely persist with market saturation. But dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. That's not relatively quick. We ain't got time anymore. AI is coming to take more people's jobs every single day. We got to get page 1 domination, page 1 visibility ASAP. And so actually an interesting thing is my estimate is I believe SQ methodology actually executing it increase the probability of having a large well-known brand by speeds it up by my estimate is 8x. So 8 times faster to achieve that. And imagine if you got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology. I mean, you're basically untouchable at that point. Now, for example, if SQ methodology successfully grown a business in spite of more and more market saturation or massive market saturation, imagine, let's say there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Fargo, North Dakota. We're one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website trying to rank page 1 on Google. You know, there's only 10 organic slots for 1 million boudoir photographers, so ultra competitive. And we don't have enough time to build a brand, so our only hope, our only solution is S cubed methodology. And as a result, you know, we realize, hey man, we gotta crank this up to the max. So we do S cubed methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we're getting like we take over the first 300 slots of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. Take up those slots, and when as a result, let's say it flows onto Google, and say we're taking the first 300 Google organic slots as well for high intent boudoir buyer search. And what actually happens is Google search is 10 organic slots per page. So dude, we're taking like the first 30 pages of Google. So let's say we do that, and guess what? Anytime any boudoir buyer in our city is searching on social networks or in Google, then what actually happens is we're basically the only one they see across all surfaces. You know, I mean, if they want to find us an organic search result, we're basically the first 300. They got to go page like 31 to basically see any of our competitors. And approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Who the heck's going to page 31? So you can see how powerful this is. So obviously in this situation, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Who business is stalling, dying, disappearing? You know, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers who are competing, but no searchers can find them. And so this is what the magic of SQ methodology can enable. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page 1 visibility. Get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Get our second initial benefit is every new slot we get, we actually kick off a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is super awesome. A lot of boudoir photographers feel like this is actually their benefit they like the best. Making other boudoir photographers become disappearing boudoir photographers on page 2, maybe on page 3, you know, and eventually those competitors' businesses disappear. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google search. And that's because basically everyone else will be 1 out of 10 slots. So we're going to be dominating all of them, looking totally different from all the others, really catching buyers' eyes because they're seeing our name so much. And if the off rare chance someone else has 2 slots, page 1 on Google, then we're still dominating them. And finally, we know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, look at my results here utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. I went to rank for the term BLCS boudoir and take as much page one slots as possible. So let's see the results I got by exclusively using S-cubed methodology. Let's get organic slot one here, Instagram. That's me. Slot two, me. Slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. Slot 10, me. And as a result, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So these are the results that I got. All right, now into the main event here. We're going to see this boudoir photography business, if they got BSS for either their local search of Naperville, Illinois, or their city search of Chicago, Illinois. So, all right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got cooking. So we're in Naperville first. So, boom, we got one. We got one slot. Boom, we got two slots. All right, nice. So for local search, we do not have BSS boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. Next, let's go look at city search Chicago. Super competitive here. So let's see. All right, we want to see how many slots we got here. All right, we actually got 0 out of 10 slots for the city search. I mean, Chicago's super competitive, so no surprises there. So no BSS for local, yes BSS for city search, but for both local and city search, we did not meet the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots in Google page one search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've gone and done your local search and you've done your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you see, you had BSS for one or both of them, or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search for one or both of them, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. You understand Google actually give us as many page one slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Your CNS key methodology is the only path to achieve that, and you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're like, oh my God, finally, yes. And you're liking the initial benefits, more search page one on Google, nice. You're liking the second initial benefit, kicking other boudoir photographers off page one on Google. Yes, awesome as well. All these obviously increasing probability you get clients. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, peeps get more gear, more boudoir photographers enter the market over time naturally. And you're also thinking ahead, like, man, AI is taking a lot of peeps jobs right now already. And, it's going to be taking more and more peeps jobs. And you understand last time that happened, COVID, people lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with an awesome camera. So boudoir photography is like the easiest thing for people to enter. So, massive wave of new boudoir photographers coming in as a result of AI. And because of that, you're looking ahead being like, all right, you're realizing you actually have to not only get all these positions on page one, you got to fortify these positions on page one. I have so many links on page one that Google wants to rank on page one for you, but there's literally not enough slots. You got like backup links, page 2, 3, 4, 5, that you need that basically fortify your position, kind of like fortifying the levee down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is actually below sea level, fortifying get it against the ocean. Realize you got to fortify your positions on Google search with so many backup links that no current boudoir photographer competitor would ever hope to rank on page one, nor any future boudoir photographer competitor coming from AI taking their job could ever rank on page one. And you're saying again, okay, S-cubed methodology is the only solution that can provide that benefit as well. and you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things on your journey to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking ahead. Do you understand how SQ methodology is working? We're basically building up these invisible thematic keyword columns on the back end in cyberspace, basically attached to your brand name, your business's name, across all your social handles, kind of intertwined and kind of sticking out, poking out from your business. And you're understanding that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability up here for us to be recommended in AI overview in search. The most premium placement, we cannot pay to get this placement with ads. This is the #1 most premium placement we want to achieve. And similarly, the other future benefit is, again, related to AI. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing the probability that AI search apps start recommending us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we're kind of building up this back end keyword momentum, AI mindshare momentum for these highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, increasing the probability we get recommended AI search. I remember the last time I did AI search for boudoir photographer in a city, it returned me 3. This was with ChatGPT. I actually went and manually searched that city. Dude, there's around 60 searched on Google and Facebook. And so it's like, we got to get this um, one of these 3 slots in AI search, or however many slots there are as possible, because AI search is increasing every single day, and standard Google search is decreasing every single day. So you're liking those, but there's those future benefits. You're also liking that kind of estimated increase probability of building a brand. A well-known brand is estimated to be approximately 8x faster, which the brand helps insulate against market saturation. And also, I'm actually got a brand and you're continuing to use SQ methodology because you understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you understand you can actually kick out all your competitors from utilizing this technology, and you can get all these benefits, initial and future benefits, build a brand faster, prevent your competitors from using it, build a massive gap in like AI mindshare, backend AI keyword mindshare to be recommended for AI search and AI overviews, and build a massive gap that basically your competitors will never be able to touch or intrude upon. And that's why I've decided to be a first mover, because you know that conversely, if one of your boudoir photographer competitors would just be in your city would sign on with me first, then what would actually happen is they would get all those benefits. You'd be kicked off page 1, maybe even kicked off page 2 as well, relegated to page 3 or deeper. You would be losing, basically building up no AI mindshare, while me and your competitor are building up massive momentum, massive AI mindshare in the back end, invisible thematic keyword columns over and over and over again, reinforcing that repetition, relevance, authority, age, increase the probability they build that up on us. And as a result, we actually, me and your competitor building up this massive gap, and you would not have access to our technology. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to recreate SQ method, rederive it for yourself, and you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. You would then have to execute it equally to us every single day, put in the time and effort to do that. And if you were to do that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor already have, way ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our output every single day to be able to start pulling back the AI keyword mindshare back towards you, away from me and your competitor. And again, you would never be 100% confident you've actually derived the methodology correctly. So probably wouldn't feel confident putting that much time into it. And then even if you did, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to be doing all this effort? So you've decided, screw that. You're going to be the first mover. Get all these benefits, initial benefits, future benefits, prevent your competitors from using this technology. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. So when the hospital does come to open back up to accept a new patient, shoot us a DM. We'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.